Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture for week 2. So in this lecture what we're going to do is we're going to focus on lesson 4. So the similar way that we did start with lesson 3, if you are continuing from lesson 3 you can straight jump into lesson 4 and don't need to worry about doing a database load. But if you did take a break the way that I did, now what you have to do is you have to start lesson 4 the same way you start lesson 3. So the basic concept here is that anytime you start a new chapter, you are going to database load from the end of lesson 3. But that is only applicable for the students who are using the app stream. But if you're using the software on your C drive, you simply start from where you left. So if you ended completing your lesson 3, you start lesson 4 and you continue with lesson 4 from where you left from exercise 3. So if you finish all the chapter from lesson 3, you start from exercise 4.1. And if you completed anything in 4.1, you make a note where you finished, and then when you start again, you start from where you left. Okay. So now again, my notes tells you if you're starting lesson 4, you have two ways to get started. Is one, if you're using the software on your C drive, you just open Sage 300, select Omni Electronics, and you make sure that you only completed lesson 3. You have not done anything from 4.1, so you start from 4.1. Okay, you don't need to worry about anything. And if you wanted to override your work, that means you're not happy with the accounts you created, you made mistakes, and you may don't want to continue with the mistakes on the next chapter, then what you can do is then you can do a database load to OmniSys and OmniDat using the same process we use in the app stream. But that is an option for you guys. But now coming to the second option, if you guys are using the application, if you continue from lesson 3 without closing the session, you continue from lesson 4 from 4.1 exercise. But now if you take a break and you come back and start lesson 4, then you're going to go through the same process. So first you're going to download end of lesson 3 from the backboard. Okay. If you already have a file that you created your file from the from your dump database dump, you can use that file to start lesson 4. But if you don't want to use your file, you want to use the file that I provided on the blackboard, you go in your week 2, you download end of lesson 3. So now that file is saved on my C drive right here in my download folder. Now the next step is I'm going to go on the Humber app stream. So I'm going to go on to the Humber app stream. I use the bookmark. I clicked on my bookmark right here, Humber app stream, and it takes me to this link. I click on the business school, enter my login information, and then I select Sage 300. Again, it's going to take 30 seconds to 1 minute depending on your speed on your computer and the internet. Okay, so now the session is opened. Now the very first thing that we want to do is we wanted to upload that file, the zip file, onto your temporary folders. So you click right here, temporary files, add, sorry, not the add, we're going to click on upload file, and this time we want to do is end of lesson 3, and we close it. So that's, remember the steps. Step 1 is downloading the file on your computer. Once you download it from Blackboard, the second step is you go in and register your session on the app stream, and once you're in, you are going to upload the zip file onto your temporary folder. So step 2 is done. Now step 3 is unzipping the file. So now to do that, you go into 7-zip, temporary file, locate the file, and click extract. Now the file has been extracted. So step 3 is done. Then you're moving to step 4, which is the database load. So you go into database load, enter the password, admin. Now you're going to find the file, which is end of lesson 3 right here. Remember what I told you? Always go into the parent folder. So this time is this one right here. And these are the files. We link Omnidat with Omnidat. Remember, all these databases are empty. It doesn't matter which one you use, it's gonna dump all this work into that. So for consistency purposes, we use the same one, Omnidat, and Omnisys into Omnisys, and click finish. Okay, and I cancel it. So that means the dump and the load is done. Now you're ready to open the Sage 300. You click on Sage 300, and then it's going to open the company file. So you see all the company files, but we are going to use Omnidat. We put the session date 01/01/2021 and press OK. Now we have the file ready. So now the file is ready, and I want to make sure that everything that I have done in lesson 3 is there. So I'm going to go into my GL accounts, check my chart of account, and I see, oh yes, that is the right company file because I created these accounts and they are there. Okay, so in the next step, what we're doing is we entering the opening balances. So now if you look at the chart of accounts, has no balances in there. Okay, so now because this company does exist before, so there is an opening balance. So the opening balance that you have is given to you in the test book, and the way that you can enter the opening balances in Sage 300 is by actually recording the journal entry. So in this chapter, what we're going to do is we're going to record an opening entry by posting the account balances based on the trial balance that you're given. So you're given a trial balance and it has the account balances debit and credit. And what you do is you create a journal entry, a one big journal entry with all the accounts. Whatever account has a debit balance, you put it in the debit side. What accounts has a credit balance, you put it into the credit side. Okay, and then you do the entry, post that entry, and that will update your trial balance, and then you create a new fiscal year to move it into the next year. So Omni Electronics has finished the year 2020 and has given you a trial balance, and what you're required to do is you're required to post a journal entry with the opening balances, and then after that you create a new fiscal year 2021, and then next chapter lesson 5 we're going to start recording transaction for January 2021. So exercise 4.1. Exercise 4.1 requires you to check what is your current fiscal year. So now to check the current fiscal year, I need to go into we're going to go into the GL setup, look at the options, and go into the posting. It says that your current fiscal year is 2020. So you are in 2020, so therefore you need to post the opening balances as of December 31st, 2020. And once we finish that, then we're going to create a new fiscal year to move my statement into 2021. So I check my fiscal year, so that's fine. And now what I'm going to do in exercise 4.1, 4.2, I'm going to record the opening entry. So now to record transaction into the GL, you go into GL transaction. So this is the only way you can enter the opening balance and also record other entries as well. So this is something new for all of you guys. If you're moving from QuickBooks or Sage 50, whenever you use an ERP system, when you record a journal entry, you record that into a batch. Okay, so what does it mean? So that means you can create a journal entry and that entry will be saved in a batch. Now that batch could have one entry, could have 100 journal entries. The purpose of creating a batch is that to organize your transactions into a group. So for example, if I'm working for a closing the month end for the month of January, so what I do is I create a one batch and I call that journal entries for closing January 2021. So I keep all my entries in a one batch and I keep working on it and I keep saving it. When I finish that, I give it to my manager and the manager reviews that batch and agrees and approve the batch to post it. Then I come into that batch and post that particular batch. So when I post a batch, all the entries in that batch will be posted. Okay. So now that batch could consist one entry, could consist of 10 entries, could consist of 100 entries. There is no limit of how many entries you can have in a batch. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a one batch and we're going to call that batch as an opening entry. Okay, and we're only going to record a one journal entry in that with all the debits and credit based on the trial balance that you're given on exercise 4.2. So now to record a journal entries is two ways you can do that. You can either double click on the journal entry and it's going to ask you to create a new batch. You click on the new and it will create a batch and then you record an entry here. That's one way of recording that. The other way that I prefer is you go into the batch list and here you see if there's any batch exist. There's no batch exist here, so here we're gonna say create a new batch. Now it's created a batch number 1 and I want to call this batch number 1 as a opening entry. And here is a description for the opening entry. I'm going to call this opening entry as well. And now it's going to ask me the document date. See, by default, the document date is the same date as the session date, but I don't want that to be used here. What I want to be used is the December 31st, 2020, because the trial balance is dated December 31st, 2020, and my current fiscal year is 2020. So if I by mistake left that date 2021 and you try to post that, it's going to end up with the error batch because you don't have 2021 fiscal year open as of yet. Okay, so make sure that this date is the date that your current fiscal year is. Now it's going to ask you the source code. Remember what I said about the source code is the source code identifies the type of transaction. So it's good that you use the appropriate source code because in the future, if you're trying to find a journal entry and you select your wrong source code, you may have hard time finding the entries. So therefore, you want to make sure the source codes that you created, you use them appropriately. So this one represents a setup of the account. So we're going to select the source code as a setup. And we have entry mode as normal or quick. It doesn't make much of the difference, but if you use a quick, what it does is any reference that you use, anything you type in a reference gets copied to the next line if you use quick method. Auto reverse. So if you're creating an accrual entry and you want that to be reversed in the next period, you can select auto reverse and see anytime you select auto reverse, it's going to say when do you want it to reverse in the next period or next year. So you can select next period, it will automatically reverse that in the following period. So we will uncheck that. Now you come into the entries. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create an entry. Now this is a journal entry. As an accountant, you know that journal entry has a debit and a credit and both of them has to equal. Now if I cannot insert, I cannot type in anything, remember the keyword that you're going to use is the insert. So So I press insert, and here I'm going to say opening balance, and I don't need to worry about the description. And here I put account number 1000, and the amount is 15,350. Then the second line I go in, insert, and that one is 1010, and that is 13,000. Insert. The next account is 1100, and the amount is 52374. Insert. 1200. Oh, sorry, the next one is actually 1110, a loans account, and that has a credit balance of 3200. Insert. 1200. 75,000. 1500. 52,000. Insert. 1510. 12,650. Insert. 1520. 15,500. Insert. 1530 is 98,000. Insert. 1540. 32,000. Insert. 2,500. That's accumulated. Oops. 2,500, and that has a credit balance of 18,500. Insert. 2510. 5100. 2520, and that's 7350. 2530. 25,000. 2540 is 6350. 3,000. Credit 57,000. 3100. 4330.63 and 3110. That is a debit of 4218.81. Insert. 3200. That's credit 4329. Insert. 43200 is done. 3210. 850. 3220 is 1200. Insert. 3250. Fabrication payable is 4475. Insert. And next one is 3500, which is 60,000. Insert. And 4,000 common share, common stock is 45,000. Insert. And retained earning is credit of 127,308.18. Done. And now your entry is completed. Now you see that in your journal entry, your debit equals to 370.92 and your credit equals to 369,992 and 85 cents. They don't agree with each other, so there's a difference of $100. So if you try to post the entry with the difference, you're going to end up an error. So, but the good thing is that if you're working on a system which is ERP system, you can still add the entry. I'm just gonna give you a warning saying your entry is out of balance. You can simply close. It lets you save the entry. So if you are stressing yourself on recording a big entry and you found there's a mistake, you don't need to worry about it. You can close the entry, save it, and come back to it and edit that. It always happen in a bigger company. Your entry is not just 2 lines. It could be like 2-page entry with all the different allocation accounts. So when you work on it, you find an error, you don't have to fix it right away. You can save it and come back to it and fix it. So here we saved an entry. We know that there's a problem with that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna double check the entry. So we're gonna come back to the same batch and open that entry again. And now you see that entry is still there. Now you can find where the mistake was, right? So here the book tells you that, oh, there was a mistake on account 2510. So there's an account 2510, 5100 is supposed to be actually 5200. So you can change this amount to 5200. Once you change it, the balance, agree. Okay, now you click save. Now the entry is saved. You close the screen and you say, okay, now I'm ready to post. So now to post this transaction, you have to change this ready to post from no to yes. Using the big companies, what happened is you have a segregation of duties. So you may be in charge for entering it, but there must be somebody who need to review it and make the change from ready to post from no to yes. So in this learning environment, you are the super user. So you can do whatever you want. But in a real world environment, somebody else will go and make this change from ready to post from no to yes, and then he or she will sign that document and ask you to post it. So now you come in, you select that and you click post. Posting sequence is completed and sequence number is 1. So there you see that the status of that is from entered to posted. Now what I want you to do is once you finish posting, I want you to print a posting journal for that entry. Now to print the posting journal, you go into GL reports and click on posting journal. Now before I print it, I'm going to go into the print destination, make it a preview, paper size, orientation, and A4. Press OK. Now I'm going to click on posting journal and I'm going to say I want to print a sequence 1. So there's only one sequence, so you don't have the option to select. So we leave it as sequence 1. Always check mark this. Report previously printed journal. Make a habit of checking this and click print. And now the entry is printed. So I see that this is the entry, this was the date, and these are the accounts, debit and credit. This is what I'm gonna check when you give me the entry. Now I'm gonna click on export PDF, press OK, OK again, and here I'm gonna put it into the temporary file, and I'll call this lesson 4 posting journal 1. Okay, and I close it. So once the opening entry is posted, what you want to do next is you wanted to create a new fiscal year. Okay, so now to create a new fiscal year, what you want to do, you go into the GL setup. Actually, you have to go to GL periodic processing and create a new year. And it's going to give you a warning, says you want to create a backup because once you create a new fiscal year, it's going to close everything. And if there was a if you have a 7-year information, it will remove the 2014 data from the system, and that will not be available anymore. So if you're okay with that, you can click process. But if you want to create a backup which is database dump and save it on your external drive. And that's what the companies do in a real world environment. They create a backup before you process a new year end. Click process. It created a process, and now the new year has been created, which is 2021, and you have no transaction which is removed because there was no history in 2014 in this file. Now you close, and then we can quickly go check to see what is my current fiscal year now. See, the current fiscal year is changed to 2021. Now in this chapter they're asking you to print balance sheet and the income statement, and I know there is an error that's happening when you're trying to print these statements on the app stream. So to print the financial reports, when you go into financial report or print financial statement, and then here you select the template that you want to pick, and then you click on print the statement. But I'm not going to ask you to print the income statements in this course because I know there's going to be an issues. So we are not going to print the financial statement. But if you are working on your C drive, you can practice to print the statements as well. The only information that I'm going to ask you guys to print in this course is the posting journal, which we already did. The another one we're going to print is the trial balance. So I'm going to ask you to print a trial balance as of December 31st, 2020. So I say print me a trial balance as of, I select the year to 2020, and I selected the period 12, which is December 31st. And I click print, and this is my trial balance, and see, this is the balance, and I will save that as a PDF, and I will call this lesson 4 trial balance. Okay, and I will close it, and now I want to make sure that all my files are saved on the C drive. So I go into temporary files, I will download this, and I will also download the trial balance as well. So now the last thing that you guys going to do is print up the do a database dump. So I'm going to do that quickly, and I hope you guys will make those notes and try to practice it yourself. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'll call this end of lesson 4, and I'll put my initial at the end. So you will use your initial, and the second step is going to be database dump. So I go into database dump and select Omni, now I'm going to do the same thing with OmniSys. Dump, done. Now the next step is zipping that folder. So I'm going to go to the application right here. Where did I go? So I'm going to click on tools, temporary files, and this is the folder, and click extract, zip, and now that is being zipped. I'm going to go into my folders, temporary file, and this is my zipped folder. I click download. So now that is being downloaded. Now I go here and I copy the end of lesson, and I will put it in my C drive right here, backups, Omni, and 4. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to save my reports in the same place as well, but in my reports folder, Omni, and here. Okay, that's how you will save the reports, and you keep saving it as you work along with the application. Okay, so that's how you will complete your lesson 4. Once you complete lesson 4, you back up your file, you save all your reports, you're okay in signing out the session. So when I completed lesson 4, there's one thing that I didn't do, which you guys need to do, is changing the company name. As soon as you open the software, you open the file, you are going to go into common services, change the company name, and have your name beside the company name, so that way the reports has your name on it. Okay, so now I'm happy I finished everything. I have all the backups on my C drive. I end my session, and that will finish up your lesson 4 from week 2. Okay, so that's it, guys. So this is the end of week 2 lecture. Now I recommend you guys to go back, complete all the steps in lesson 3 and lesson 4. Then if you have time, you want to jump in the challenge exercises, you can go into a challenge exercise and complete the challenge exercise 3 and 4 as well. Okay, good luck everyone, and I'll see you in the class. Bye bye.